Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Tonight is another edition of Hong Kong House of Cards, once more dealing with the Warehouse Gang and the mages in particular. At current, we have Dimitri and Ava at the warehouse doing whatever they are doing for the night, and they're getting a surprise visit from Arthur, Jason, and Master Atrian DeSalle. So, go ahead and state what you and Ava are doing, and then I'll have the mages pull up.
Probably at the moment, just for sake of argument, Dimitri is working with Ava, comparing notes on certain technological differences they have, how her species does things, yada yada yada. And the most interesting thing is she has a little crystal which has information on it. He has no idea how to access it, and they're probably trying and failing miserably at trying to interface with it, because he doesn't have anything they would consider to be a reader.
All right.
Sound about right, Drake?
Yep.
Crap, I just realized I did not give him blatancy. I'm going to have to change that. Anyway. So, at this point, the Mage Mobile will roll up. Arthur would be telling everybody, leave weapons behind. This will draw a look from DeSalle, who will ask if he could at least bring his snub nose. And Arthur says, I know you have incendiary rounds in there. No. Atrian will look confused at why he's taking orders from over Benna and then look at Jason.
We're talking ex-technocracy right now. We don't really want to give them a reason to be wary of us, especially if they know a bunch of stuff that could be useful later on.
DeSalle will nod and say, this is your show, Wainwright. I'm just here for moral support.
Why are we here? What are we doing?
Well, you know Riker.
Yeah. No, I don't know Riker.
Well, you know how Riker can be somewhat of a fucktard.
I mean, sometimes, yeah.
Well, apparently he got into the snit with another member of his Fae house, and it's led to a duel that's supposed to be happening this week, and he gave the blood of this other Fae, this Char Flicker Flame, I don't know if you've met him, to Dimitri. Dimitri took the blood. I don't know why, but apparently it's meant to do harm later. So I need to figure out the whole story, and Master DeSalle here's the only one I can use who can rip into people's mind. At which point DeSalle goes, yeah, but if I pull out a bunch of cat videos again, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Where did you rip out a bunch of cat videos?
Oh, it was this one guy about 5 years ago. It was not a pleasant situation.
Were you hanging adepts?
Yes, an adept that got compromised. He filled his brain with cat videos to prevent me from going in there. Didn't stop me, though.
That seems like a pretty effective defense, though, honestly.
So I need the whole story, and the only way I can get it from him truthfully is with the help of someone who knows mind, and that's the master here.
Don't you have basic entropy?
Yeah, I have basic entropy, but it's not enough to... crap, because that's right. I forgot that Arthur has entropy 1.
Zone of truth.
Yeah. So Arthur's like, yeah, but if he's hiding something, I need the whole story.
I guess that's fair.
So I'll be checking his words for truth, you be checking his thoughts. And Jason...
I'll be a pretty face?
No, you'll be here to make sure they don't try to fuck us over while we're doing this. They may have jumped ship on the technocracy, and Smith may be out to get them, but that doesn't mean that they may not be playing an endgame angle.
Yeah, if they're paranoid, they may just jump on us.
Yeah. Yeah, and if this all comes down to Riker being an idiot, I'm going to next to bitch slap the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Alright, so they'll get out of the car, leaving all weapons behind, because, hey, they're technically... Members of House Flambeau don't need weapons. It's just nice to have for coincidental sake.
Mhm.
Arthur will walk up to the door and knock.
All right. And after a moment's hesitation, viewport opens. It is Arthur doing the knocking, right?
Yeah. However, there's a 6-foot-tall, blonde guy, French descent, standing behind him next to Jason.
And is there a third guy visible?
That's the 6-foot-tall French blonde guy.
Oh, okay. So it's Jason, Arthur. Jason and Arthur have both been there before. It's the other guy who's new. Okay. There's, it's Brannigan, of course. He's still stuck on guard duty. He just looks at the new guy and just goes, 1 second. Close the viewport. Mutter. Over to Kane and Ava as they're working on their thing. Intercom buzzes. Boss, it's that Wainwright guy, and Jason was the other guy, and there's a third guy. And Kane not Kane, sorry. He's not Kane. Thank you.
That's his legacy, thank you.
I know, thank you. Dimitri, hey, it's the first time I've slipped on that. Dimitri frowns a bit and just kind of shrugs like, well, I suppose this was going to happen eventually. All right, Ava, why don't you come with? Might be educational for you. If you get nervous, just, they're not, I don't think they're planning on storming the building, or it would already be on fire.
Alright, I'll come with.
And with that, he heads over, let them in, and by the time he gets there, the door opens. There's two other guys, there's 3 guys total in security uniforms, and they're all wielding AR-15s. They lower them, they back away, let you guys in, and then promptly close and lock the door and get back into ready positions.
All right, look at the side of the AR-15s, the blonde French guy will just go, that's cute. Why don't you guys get some real weapons?
They just kind of frown, and just as that's happening, Dimitri kind of walks up and goes, I do have a few variable ammunition pistols, but I don't believe they need them just yet. They haven't even had to use those yet.
Yeah, he'll just say, those are too fragile outside thanks to your precious consensus. You guys need to get equipped with some M60s or something a little bit stronger. Preferably spent uranium penetrating rounds or explosive ammunition.
Don't believe we've met, but I think Oscar will love you.
My name is Master Atrian de Salis, House Flambeau of the Order of Hermes.
A pleasure. Dimitri Dragomir, formerly of the Progenitors, currently of the House of Pentacles. PhD in genetics, biochemistry, and biology, for whatever that's worth, but that doesn't really seem relevant. How can I help you, gentlemen?
Arthur's just like, well, you see, there's some things I need to clear up. Because apparently Riker's the one that gave you the blood.
Yeah,
I need to know what the intentions were behind that, because if Riker is interfering with the non-aggression pact between our people by getting you to kill another Fae...
Who said anything about killing someone?
That would be Baroness Desdemona and King Dartmouth.
I gave my word when he offered me the letter. He said, well, I should say, to be perfectly clear, I asked him for the letter. I didn't say I was going to use it to harm anyone. He then specified that he was going to have my word that I would not use it to harm the individual in question. I think his rationale was more that he needed to have him in good shape to duel with, but I did give my word I would not use it to do anything to him.
Alright, I have activated Ring of Truth. It is good for the next week.
Sweet. He's telling the truth. Yeah. But trust me, I'll let you know if it's a lie.
Alright. At which point, DeSalle will say, I'm gonna have to get inside your mind.
I suppose it's a good thing I haven't paid enough attention to Asuka's lessons on Psycraft, then.
Don't worry, I will leave you untouched.
Just don't look in the porn folder, all right?
After the guy with the 5 years of cat videos, I'm not touching folders.
And do you start?
Yeah, he's in. He's activated the rote, and he's going to teep knock knock. So, are you gonna?
You said the cat videos. He's thinking of that now.
You just hear a muttered "God damn it" under his voice.
It's your fault.
Fine.
Anyways,
Are you going to let him in, or does he have to brute force it?
He's not stopping you. Go right ahead.
Okay, so he's going to start diving.
And his attention's not on him, though. His attention's on Arthur, because he assumes this is just a two-pronged thing. It seems pretty obvious. He doesn't know about... would I actually have a chance to know about the entropy trick, since you did it in front of me?
You can watch... You have Watch the Weaving? Or... No, you have...
Not
Prime Sight.
activated.
So,
I have Prime Sight, but it's not activated, so...
Yeah, you'll need to, You would have had to have activated Prime Sight, or you'd have to have the rope for Watch the Weaving, but you can roll a Perception Awareness, but hey, we're all mages here.
Yeah, so I'm not going to know who did it. And there is a guy who just said he was diving into my mind, so
Yeah.
fuck it, yeah, I'm just going to think it's him. I won't worry about it.
So 2, 3, 4, 5 successes to route through your surface thoughts and to check to see if you're hiding anything.
Go for it.
He just did.
No, I know. I'm saying he's
So
not
Arthur
hiding
just-
anything.
So you asked Riker for the note in blood. For what reason?
He hesitates for a second. You'd probably get a twinge, as if not as if he's hiding something, but as if he's considering it, which, given his situation, is not necessarily instant guilt. And then it dissipates, and he promptly says, "I thought it would be good insurance."
I can't fault you on that. However, we're all supposed to be working as a team. The
Which
whole
is
city's
why
supposed to be working together.
Which is why I gave my word I would not do anything. My thought process was that if it was necessary in the future, such as when someone crazy enough to draw weapons in the protected space, as you called it, in front of my door, if someone were to do something like that, there's a good chance that person will quickly become persona non grata, and in that event, it might be very handy for certain elders to have a sample of their blood.
Ring of
In
Truth,
all
that's
honesty,
all rings true.
It's all true.
Alright,
And
is there
no
anything
hiding
you're
anything?
concealing in your brain?
Nope.
Okay. At which point Arthur will say, well, I can understand that. However, I have to ask this because you are a progenitor. Was there ever an inkling in your mind of using it as a weapon immediately after Riker's duel? Or of you actively killing or attempting to kill this Scharflicker Flame immediately after his duel?
I thought about it. Talked to the new adept about it. We weren't going to do it, though.
Well, the King and the Baroness Desdemona are both under the impression that Riker hired you to kill Scharflicker Flame immediately after the duel concluded.
Nothing
As
of
soon
any
as he was out in public.
Nothing of that sort was said. What was said was
Ring of
that,
Truth comes through
as far
true.
as trust me, I'll tell you if anything he's saying is lying or hinting anything at deceit. Trust me.
Okay.
Until further notice, assume it's true. He's not trying to hide anything. He's not stupid. He goes over it again, like he's trying to make sure he's not forgetting anything, which is the only way that, with the mind effect, hopefully he's not, though mind is still colored by one's perceptions.
Yeah. Well, if the Sal thinks you're hiding anything, he's going to go through and rip it out.
Yeah, so far there's no hint of that, other than that very first initial, like, oh wait, what should I? No, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. He thinks for a moment and goes, to my best recollection, which I'm sure someone here can verify, to my best recollection, after the gentleman was on his way out, I walked over. I said some pithy things during the conversation, which I think probably ingratiated myself with him a little bit. I'd never met the fellow before. Seemed a little bit naive, but in any case, I asked him something to the effect of, could I have the letter? It might prove useful. I did not say it would prove useful to hurt him or anything else. He may have drawn that conclusion, but if he did, that would make it very odd that his first question was to make sure that I would give my word that I would not use it to harm him, at least until the duel. I said I had no intention of harming him, period. No anything of that nature. No, not using the blood to do so, at any rate. At that point, you kind of get a mental image. He's not hiding something. Like, there's a momentary of, like, oh, wait, did I forget something? Followed by, but as I said, I had at that point already considered working with our new adept to do something. But as I said, we changed our minds on it. We have no wish to go against the wishes of the Harrow Council. If we were told to, we'd be the first in line to do it. He annoyed Mr. Connor as much as he annoyed me, but he kind of shrugs a little bit. We're not going to risk causing war between factions for petty dislikes.
Well, that's good to hear, because you're ringing true to me. I don't know why these people want to involve us in their little shit. But apparently Desdemona and Dahey got the impression that you were becoming a contract to hire.
If I was, I would be slightly more discreet about it. I didn't hide my request. I did it in front of at least one or two changelings that I know of. Plus, I don't know how many of the staff actually were. They were already clearing the mortals out at that point, so I suppose anyone that was left within earshot would have known what I was saying. I didn't sneak it under my robes. I took it from him after asking for it and said what I said in front of people.
All right.
How much more open I could be about it.
Well, I'll explain to Dartmouth about the whole situation, but I don't know how receptive he's going to be, considering the fact that he's closed off the Emerald Mother to all non-Fae supernaturals.
Yes, you and I already communicated about that. Well,
at this point, you'll feel that mental pressure vanish.
He nods a little bit. He's like, well, to be honest, the impression I've gotten from every unpleasant encounter I've had with the masked fellow in question, I almost got the impression it wasn't as if he was focused on Riker. He talked a very good game, but his focus seemed to be the very first opportunity he got in the discussion when Riker said he would owe him something as a recompense for the slight. He didn't specify, and he veritably leaped on the idea of having the Emerald Mother and the freehold attached to it as his personal property.
Well,
now, I don't know how important these freeholds are to his kind, but if they're anything like nodes and constructs,
they are.
Then perhaps that is worth investigating. But then again,
the Emerald Mother in particular is powerful, and I have worked very hard to make it a safe spot. I have invested not only my magics, but a sum total of my quintessence into it.
Well, that's fairly impressive, I would say. By the way, just for future reference, should there be any more aspersions cast my way or in the direction of anyone working or living here, of which there are now several of us, please know that you and Master DeSalle here and Jason are welcome to come here at any point. You don't even need to call ahead. I'll even tell the guards to let you in and look wherever you want.
I appreciate it. I am trying to respect your privacy. I really am. But you have to understand how badly the technocracy has messed up the city.
I'm aware. However, I hope that people will eventually, at some point, perhaps it will take a year or two, but at some point, give us the benefit of the doubt. Now, I wouldn't expect it, especially under the circumstances, but eventually.
Well, I have worked very hard to protect the mages in this city. Both myself, Jacob, and Jones have tried really hard to make sure that the mages had a voice in the city, that the mages had a presence in the city, and that the mages were not blamed for anything. Especially with the frickin' Nefandi that we're running around here, we put our frickin' hearts and souls into stopping them.
I already talked to you about the. Speaking of the technocracy, I believe I showed you. I already made sure everyone here has watched that video that was on the air.
Yeah.
Like I said, keep us apprised. We're working on our own methods. I saw the. I'm not trying to derail the subject, but I meant to mention this to you at the first opportunity. You're aware that Serena is working on some sort of something akin to a haywire grenade, if you're familiar with the concept from video games. She was designing,
especially, but I'm getting the point. It's a portable EMP.
Yes, essentially, that's its point. And from what she told me, she was planning on arming local dissidents of some sort. I'm not sure. So we over here kind of thought that, as useful as having some sort of weapon like that might be, well, it's always nice to make something more efficient. We're designing our own countermeasures. I will keep you apprised as we develop anything, but while you folks are here, perhaps I should show you why you keep us here and why we're useful. We've only produced one useful thing to date, but it might be worth looking at.
Well, I mean, if you're wanting to show us, I
mean, might as well. I've shown everyone else who lives here.
I usually try to keep people separate when it comes to secrets of the trade. I don't expect you to run over to the Order of Hermes and start teaching them how to use technocratic technology.
No, though it might be useful for them to know its weaknesses. Though whether they'd be able to use it would be another matter.
He'll look over at Jason. You paying attention?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There are methods. Electronics are sensitive to electricity in many cases. You're already aware of things like that. But there may be other things we could share. Little bits of lore here and there. In any case, let me show you. One moment. He goes back to his work area and comes back a minute later. He's carrying something over his arm. It looks kind of like a deep-sea diving suit. Ava's already seen this. He's already demonstrated it for her. I don't think Jason's seen it. Did Jason see it?
Probably not.
Don't think so. Out of character, I know you did. You and Kimberly both saw it, but I don't think in character. And it's some sort of suit. He drapes it over his arm, and it's got some sort of electronic interface. He taps it, and it promptly seems to vanish.
Julia, did you finally get in?
I don't think the mic's activated yet. No sound transmitting. Oh, she popped out.
Gone. She can't get on the computer, so she's trying to get on her phone.
That's going to be dicey. Okay, so hopefully she gets back quick. In the meantime, suit vanishes on his arm. He's obviously still holding it, but I mean, it's kind of got a little telltale imprint that you can see if you're really looking for it, but it's really hard to notice, especially when it's not moving. And that's when he realized that the suit could cause tradition mages to go mute.
Sorry, I'm trying to talk with...
It's all good. It's all good.
You'll get from DeSalle... Well, that's interesting.
don't think it's quite my style, but it looks cool.
Okay, I'm going to try something real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to stop the broadcast, save it, and then I'm going to open up hold on, Julia.
Hello?
There you are.
Yay, it works.
Finally hear you.
Good.
Hello.
You're just in time. I was
It only
about to
took
stop
like
the
8
broadcast.
tries.
Yeah. All right, so we're at a good point for Julia to come in with Becker.
The Mage Mobile is sitting outside the warehouse. So obviously he has guests.
And she should be able to figure out who they are.
This is
Do
going
we
to be
want-
fun.
Do we want to
All
say
right.
that... Sorry.
Becker will knock on the door then.
Oh, do we want to say that he had arranged for her to come over and see the product finally, or is this just a different house call?
She'll just pop in, see how you're doing, see if anything has been produced yet.
Excellent. He'll be like, I've been trying to get a hold of your secretary for weeks. You keep saying you're not available. Yeah. Anyways, when you knock at the door, there's the usual security precautions, which, if you weren't aware of it, is basically she hasn't been to the warehouse yet, has she?
Yes, she has.
She has.
She has been there. She had to go there to buy it.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, she hasn't seen the security setup or anything.
Yes, she has. She met.
Brannigan.
Excuse me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay. Sorry, my memory plays tricks upon me.
She went through the last thing we did.
Okay. I will wait for Brett to return since his character is, like, right there, not far from the entrance. Most of them are, in fact. Actually, no, we all are. It's Jason, Arthur, Ava and Dimitri, and Master DeSaul, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, is nobody using their camera, or am I just not able to see it?
The only person using their camera right now is Tiger.
I just
And
turned it
Brett.
off. Yeah, I turned it off because I was about to throw up.
Oh, charming.
Yeah.
You okay, man?
Yeah, I'm still sick.
More green death for you.
No, I'm actually on the Red Death now.
Oh, jeez. Dayquil?
No, the Cherry NyQuil. It's not as
Ooh.
bad. It's about the same strength.
Next up,
Anyway, so continue on.
Okay. So she's let in. The guards know not to give her any crap. They just, like, oh, it's you. Come on in, miss.
She'll, sorry.
Lara was just going to say, as soon as you walk in and the guards are out of the way, you see all 3 tradition mages, Ava, Dimitri, they're just standing in a cluster, and Dimitri is holding out his arm like he's got a towel on it, and there's nothing there.
The only person that Julia the Becker wouldn't recognize is a 6-foot-tall blonde Frenchman wearing camo fatigues.
They met during the assault on Celeste.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you recognize DeSalle from the Celeste incursion thing.
So Ava's the only person you haven't met.
Yep.
All right. Becker will kind of look at the group gathered, and then look back to Dimitri, and look back at the group, wave to
Hello.
Jason.
How are you tonight?
Back to Dimitri. What part of keeping this place off the radar was not apparent? How could I have made myself clear?
He sighs. I didn't invite them over, well, except for her, and she actually found the place. He nods towards Ava. She's a longer story, which I can get into later if you like. Her name's Ava, but suffice to say, she's under the protection of the House of Pentacles and was placed in my care for the time being. So I figured it was better to keep her here since I lodge here. As for Arthur, he already knows where the place is. Jason already knows where the place is because they were able to find it. And this fellow, Master Dis...
I was returning your stuff to you. I didn't just happen to stumble upon it.
I know. But he's not saying that yet. And then Master DeSaul, of course, was accompanying them. They were here to ask me about some recent events and ensure that my loyalties are still, well, he just kind of nods. I believe they found my answers satisfactory, though, which may be of some comfort to you.
Julia, just so you know, Arthur has a road up, level 1, the Entropy Ring of Truth, so if you say anything that's a lie, Arthur will figure, hey, they're lying. Don't know about what, but they're lying.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Prince Becker. This was a matter of the house, especially with what happened last night. I had to come over and question Dimitri on some things.
What does Dimitri have to do with changeling business?
He has become an unwitting side pawn in the game thanks to Riker Lynch. So, you know how much I love keeping my people out of other houses' business, and when I found out about this, I had to get involved.
I see.
Well, I don't want to keep you guys from your business, so we'll go ahead and vamoose. Nice talking to you, Dimitri. Ava, good to see you again. Arthur will start heading to the door. Master DeSalle will walk over, bow to Becker, and say, "It's a pleasure seeing you again, my dear. If only I were a few centuries younger." And then he'll start walking to the door.
Jason's just gonna look.
Becker will bow as he does and give him similar compliments.
Jason's
He
just
looks like
gonna
he's about 25, just so you know.
So does she.
Yeah.
Jason,
Brannick... Sorry, go ahead.
Jason pulls a this fucking guy look, like a dress towards Dr. Dahl, and then continues like walking after them.
Before DeSaul manages to leave, Brannigan kind of was like, "Hey, what weapon would you recommend?"
He'll look him over quickly and say, "I don't know. Can you handle a squirt gun?"
God damn it, everyone hates Brannigan.
It's because he's smart. At that point, he'll just pat you on the shoulder and say, "I'm just messing with you. Come by my shop. I've got an M41A1A you might be interested in." And he'll walk out the door.
Sure, thanks. Then they close the door behind them, leaving Ava, Dimitri, and Becker. And Dimitri is still holding something on his arm that isn't there, yet it's kind of there.
That's not going to faze Becker. She deals with changelings. They always think there's something there.
Exactly. And you did just find out he's apparently a pawn in their stuff. Maybe they've convinced him that the unreal is real. How improper. Anyways, he just shakes his head. My apologies. If I'd known you were coming, I would have made sure the schedule was completely clear. But then again, I didn't know they were coming either. So, I do have some good news. Several pieces, actually.
Oh?
Well, first, including Miss Ava here, we have a addition or two to my current staff of researchers, you might say. One of them is a tradition mage, gentleman by the name of Nathan Connor. He's new to the city, but I believe I've already put him in touch with Styles. They seem to get along decently, I believe. But I figured it would be a good idea to have a member of the more traditional mages present, though one acceptable. That way they are less suspicious of my every move. As you can see, there's still some trust issues, which will eventually work themselves out. In light of that, I'm kind of glad I invited him to stay. Plus, he's very useful. He brings valuable insight. Also, there's Ava here, and a gentleman by the name of Stephen Baumgartner. He's, I'm not quite sure what he is, but suffice to say we're stuck with him. And he's not a flight risk. But that was only a piece of the good news. The better news is we've completed our first project. And he taps, so whatever he's holding, he taps, and the suit becomes visible again. So obviously, it's a full-body suit of some kind. It says, this suit is not perfect. It has several limitations, but I'm quite proud of it, given I based it off of a dead piece of seafood. He just kind of, like, smiles, like, thank you for allowing us to do that, by the way. I told you I would deliver. This suit can be worn by anyone, not just one of my kind or anyone else for that matter. You could use it, one of your servants could use it, anyone can use it, and it will not fail in the sight of the masses.
It's very interesting.
It does tend to require one to be a little bit, shall we say, stealthy, not as in skilled necessarily, but if you try to walk down the street, it's not going to work as well as if you were sticking to the sides for obvious reasons. As well, the sorry, out of character brain freeze. Was it? Wow, that train just left the station. I hate it when that happens. Oh yes, I remember now. As well, there's one other side effect with its use. It needs to be kept during the day, or at least for a significant portion of the day, but I assume we'd be using it at night. It needs to be kept in a special vat, which helps to sustain it. It's technically alive, though it has absolutely no mental capacity, no soul of that nature, nothing of that kind. It's simply cells that are kept alive.
See.
Do you think it is serviceable as a first demonstration?
It shows great promise for your ability. I must admit I am still fairly worried that there's going to be problems in the future. What reason have you given the mages not to trust you?
He just raises an eyebrow. They only need one. I used to work for the Technocracy, but if you're speaking about why there were 3 of them here tonight, that's, well, as you heard Arthur's truncated version of events. The longer version, which I will keep blessedly short in comparison to how it could be, is there's some changeling in town who's making a bit of a bad impression, in my opinion. Apparently Riker did something which upset him, slighted his honor, and he demanded a duel for it, demanded the club for it, which is why we're having all the current issues and none of us are allowed to be there. And he wrote a challenge letter, I believe would be the appropriate term, in his own blood, which he did in full view of the masses. He also drew a weapon in the club in full view of the masses. After seeing these displays of brashness and potential liabilities, after the display was done and the fellow had left the letter in Riker's care, I calmly, and quite openly I might add, asked him for the letter. And he seemed to be aware that I was not, well, he seemed to know I was one of the night folk, as you would call it. I did give him my word, because he asked for it, that I would not use it to do anything against the man in question. I would not do anything to harm Shar Flickerflame with the sample. And I brought it back here and kept it in storage until it was reclaimed, and, well, everything from there kind of panned out as you would expect. I kept it for insurance, which, now that that's been verified by my superiors, hopefully they'll not find me so much at fault for it. Taking precautions is part of my line of work.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, I have a meeting with King Dartmouth later. I'm sure that he will verify everything that you have said to me. If that's the case, then I see no problems here.
Well, it is worth mentioning that the version, well, Mr. Wainwright spoke with someone in the Fey courts, apparently, and wherever he got his information, the version of events that's circulating there is that I am some sort of gun for hire and that I had sworn to kill this fellow after the duel. At which point I said, well, I had my conversation in front of several people at the bar. I don't believe I said anything of that nature. And they verified that by examining my memories. So somewhere the story has gotten garbled.
Well, we'll see.
I suppose we will. In any case, I'm glad you like the slight example we've made. We're working on others, and I will keep you informed as we work on them.
Very good. I do apologize. I must cut this visit short. I apparently, too, have visitors coming into the city. I must see to them.
Understood. And with that, he bows and
If
leads her to the door.
There's nothing else that you need to show me?
I don't believe so. That was our only actual development of late. So with that, he, as I said, leads her to the door if she's eager to leave.
She'll follow.
I wish you a pleasant evening.
Please, in the future, do try to keep the supernatural people away from this building. It's why I got it.
I'll pass it along. Perhaps there's a way to make, if there are any further surprise inspections by my house, I can ask them to be more discreet about it, rather than parking a van out front. Other than that, we are working very hard to make it less noticeable. Beyond that, and placing a few wards, there's not much else I can do. People seem to want to show up here.
Is all I ask. She'll nod over to Ava, acknowledging her for the first time. And it was a pleasure to meet you as well, I'm sure.
Likewise, she nods.
It
Have a
should
good
be
evening,
mentioned,
all of you.
just as a final note, just in case it got overlooked. Interesting thing about Ava, I don't know what senses Becker has on at any given time, but Ava has pale skin, lower body temperature. It is entirely feasible someone looking at her might think she's a vampire at first.
And the silver pupils.
Oh, yeah, that's
Her
also
iris.
a bit of a unusual feature.
Duly noted.
All right. And with that, is that a good place for us to end the scene, or is there follow-up planned, or?
That's, unless Becker wants to try to get Arthur's attention, that's probably the best way to end this right now.
We can end it.
All right.
All right. Thank you, players, for playing. We had a couple watchers, so thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another edition of Hong Kong House of Cards. Good night, and don't forget to not go in the Infernalists. Thank you.